And also let me share my screen. Okay. So in our demo session, actually we only have 20 minutes left. Let's see how many topics we can cover in the agenda that we currently have. So in our today's demo session, our agenda is to understand what this SailPoint IIQ tool means. Okay. And what do we mean by IAM, and why we basically need this SailPoint IIQ tool, and why it is covered under IAM domain, and what is the purpose of using this tool, and how it is going to help, and to whom it is going to benefit. And we will also try to discuss what are the other types of tools similar to SailPoint IIQ available in the market, and why SailPoint is leading among all of these tools. Okay, let's discuss one by one. So first of all, we all agree we are here to learn SailPoint IIQ. So before learning SailPoint IIQ, anyone knows what is this SailPoint IIQ means?
It is one of the identity provisioning tools where we can manage identities and also some service accounts or some other accounts as well, non-human accounts as well. It's one of the provisioning tools.
Provisioning tools. Yeah, I got the point. Anybody have any different perspectives?
It's identity engine.
Right, it's an identity engine. Any other perspectives? Okay, so this is how my definition of the SailPoint IIQ goes here. So this SailPoint IIQ is basically an identity and access management solution. Okay, so observe the terms identity and access management. Okay, and this tool is offered by a company called SailPoint. So they are the vendors. SailPoint is name of the company, and this SailPoint is offering wide variety of solutions. They have something called SailPoint IIQ, which stands for Identity IQ. They have one another tool called SailPoint IdentityNow, and recently they have renamed it to ISC. It's called Identity Security Cloud. And they are offering one another tool called NERM, non-employee risk management. This way, this single company is offering different kinds of solutions. Among them, this SailPoint IIQ is one such solution. Okay. So this IIQ is called Identity IQ. It basically signifies IQ basically signifies intelligence, right? So the purpose they want to highlight here is this tool is something that intelligently solves all the identity related use cases. Okay, so that's why the intention is this in renaming the product to Identity IQ. Okay, and as I mentioned, SailPoint is the name of the organization, and the tool that we are going to learn and use is IIQ or Identity IQ. So whenever you say SailPoint anywhere, so always remember when you say SailPoint, you are not referring to any particular tool, you are referring to the organization. So if you want to particularly mention any tool, you need to mention the tool name, which is Identity IQ. Okay, and this particular Identity IQ tool is used to solve enterprise IAM problems. Enterprise IAM. So IAM in the sense identity and access management. We'll discuss in depth what this IAM means, like identity and access management problems. And we are also saying this identity and access management solution. Okay. What do we mean by that? So let's break this definition one by one. Okay. So first of all, let's understand what is identity, or what do you mean by identity? Okay. And here again, we are saying we are only going to solve this IAM problems for enterprise organizations. Okay. So whenever we say enterprise IAM problems, we are only going to implement this tool for any particular company. Okay, so it is not a generic one. It's only meant for a particular company. The particular implementation that we'll do, it's only for a particular company. So let's understand more how it will be. Okay, so it is saying identity and access management. Okay, So first of all, let's understand what do we mean by identity. So guys, from your perspective, can you tell me what do we mean by identity here?
It is nothing but authenticating the user, who the actual user is.
Okay, actual user is, right? And any other definitions? Okay, let me,
Identity is nothing but to identify a particular account
yeah,
which have authorization and authentication.
right, correct.
Uh,
So let me have this generic understanding. So in throughout our discussion in our IAM world, so whenever we say the term identity, it is nothing but digitally representing any person who is working for the organization. Let's say I have my company. Okay, so let's say I have my bank. Okay, Corp Bank. Okay, so for bank we have n number of people working, right? So when we say n number of people, we will have the full-time employees working for the organization. Okay, so the bank hire their own employees and those employees will be working for the organization. So we have the employees. And also sometimes they will take help from some other people, like they will hire some contractors on temporary basis, or they hire some people from some other companies to work for their company for a short period of time. So that way, contractors will also work for the organization, right? We will have sometimes vendors working for the organization. Okay, for example, vendors in the sense, in our case, SailPoint, they are selling one product. So if they want to implement the product, they need to get access to our systems in order to implement it. So in this case, vendors are the external people or the sellers who will be working for the organization for a short period of time. Okay, and sometimes we may have students. We usually give internships. Some companies give internships, right? So in such case, the interns will be working for the organization for a short period of time. Okay, so whenever we say identity, we basically mean all these people. So we are going to represent the employees, contractors, vendors, interns, everyone. So whenever we say identity, like we refer to these people digitally. Okay, nowadays technology is advancing. We are not just employing humans to work for our organization. Okay, nowadays we are employing some machine related like identities also to work for our organization. So you might have heard about bots. So not particularly the chat bots, some automation bots you might have heard of. Okay, so we may need something called service accounts. Okay, we have automation tools or some automation technologies. Okay, so all these are something that does a similar work of a human, but they are not humans. Okay, but still they need access in order to perform certain activity. Okay, so we also represent these non-human workers in our system, and we also refer to them as identities. So in order to categorize that, we can say like human identities. Okay, and these items we may categorize as non-human or machine identities. Okay, so these are the two categories, but all of this represents an identity. So whenever we say identity, it's basically a human or a person working for your organization, or maybe it's a machine or an bot, or like a virtual human working for your organization. So whenever we say identity, we mean all of these people. Okay. So we will have a digital record of each employee working for the organization. We will have a digital record of each contractor, digital record of each vendor, and we'll have a digital record of each chatbot that is used in the organization. So that way we'll keep digital record of all the people working for the organization, be it human or non-human. So this digital record of individual person is nothing but identity. Okay. For example, there is a person called Santosh Saxena. If Santosh Saxena is working for the organization, so I will say an identity and I will keep a record like what is his first name, what is his last name, what is his date of birth, what is his designation. So I'll keep a record of all of these details. So this digital record of the real human working for the organization is nothing but identity. So this way we'll have digital record of contractors, vendors. These are all categorization. Okay, but it's same. Like at the end of the day, there are people working for the organization, and we call that as identity. Okay. So next term that we have is access. So what do we mean by access? So whenever we say access, it is nothing but the permission that we have. So it could be anything. Suppose if you discuss the term access in a generic way, for example, the access could be to a building. So if you are someone like working for an organization, if you want to enter your company's building, you need access to that building. Okay. Suppose you want to fill an application. Okay. So for filling the application, you need to go to a particular portal. So in order to go to a particular portal, you need access to the portal. Suppose you want to fill your timesheet. So in order to fill your timesheet, there will be an application meant for the timesheet purpose. And in order, if not everyone can open that application and do the activities, right? So you need access to timesheet. It means the permission that you have in order to open anything or do a particular activity. It is nothing but access. Okay. For example, we have the identities or the people working for the organization. So in a digital world, we have n number of applications. Everything is digitalized. We are no longer going in a hardware workshop and doing the manual work. Everything is digital and we are performing all the work digitally. In order to do that, every person working for the organization, they need access to different kinds of applications. Basically, they need permissions to open the application or to use the application. Okay. So this permission in order to use any application is nothing but access. Okay. So whenever we say access, one more thing to consider here is it is not just the permission that we have in a particular application, it is the level of permission we have. Okay. What do we mean by level of permission? Let's say there is an customer account management portal. So let's imagine the very same Corp Bank that we have. In the Corp Bank, they have an application called customer account management. Okay. So people can log into this customer account management and basically they can view the account details of the bank customers, like people who have accounts in the bank. The employee can log into the portal and see their bank details. Okay. For example, we have a particular request from the bank. Okay, so wherein we got a request to update the mobile number. Okay, I am an associate. Let's say I am an associate. I can only log into this customer account management portal and update the mobile number. Okay, but soon after updating the mobile number, it will not reflect in the user. So there must be some approver. So let's say my manager have to approve it. Here, being an associate, I will only have access to change the mobile number. But in order to reflect the details, I need an approval. And in order to approve it, we need different level of permission. Okay, that only my manager will have, I will not be having it. Okay, for example, I can only view the account details. Being an associate, I can only view the account details, but even my manager cannot do cash deposit. Suppose if any customer is coming to our bank and if they have given some deposit form and they have given some money, my manager cannot do that, and being an associate, I cannot do. So there should be a separate designation called cashier. So this cashier only have permission in order to deposit the cash to the customer's account. Okay, so this way the application is same. The customer account manager application is same that the associate will be using, or the manager will be using, and the cashier will be using, but the kind of operations they will do is different. It means like associate do not have permission to deposit the cash. Okay, so this is nothing but level of access. So everyone have access to the application, but we cannot do all kind of operations. That is because the level of permissions that we have. Okay, so whenever we mean access in our identity and access management, we just only mean whether the user have permission to access the application or not, but we mean within the application what permission the user have. So does the user have read-only access? Does the user have read and write access? Or does the user have read, write, execute access? What level of access they have? So we will care about this part as well. Okay. So we know what do we mean by identity in the implementation scenarios that we are going to have. And we also know what do we mean by access? What do we refer when we say the term access means? And we are saying we do the management. What do we mean by management? So management is nothing but handling it, right? How we handle this. So we need to handle the identity. We need to handle the access. Okay. So what exactly we mean by management? For example, let's say identity management. Identity is nothing but an employee. Let's assume an employee for now. So what management I can do for an identity? Suppose if a new person is joining the organization, I need to create a record, right? I need to create a record for this identity. I need to store all the information of the identity. Suppose this person, this particular employee is going to be promoted. Okay, if he is going to be promoted, obviously his designation will change. Otherwise, if that employee is getting transferred, obviously his location will change. So whenever this activity is being performed, I need to update my record as well, right? So modify or update. Okay. So when this particular employee is leaving the organization, I need to remove his access, termination or disable. Okay. We will be doing all of these activities. So this is nothing but management. So whatever may be the scenario that is happening for the identity in the organization, we need to handle that scenario. Suppose if the user is joining, like we need to create a record, we need to provide access. So if the user is getting promoted, or if there is any changes to his details, we need to update the details for the identity. It is nothing but a modify operation for the identity. Okay, if the user is leaving, we need to disable. Suppose we'll sometimes have a retention period where we are supposed to delete the complete user record from the system. In that case, we may need to perform delete operation as well. So it is very rare, but I'm just explaining the situation. So we may have to create identity, update the identity, disable it, delete it, all of the things we may need to do for the identity. So the process of doing all these operations is nothing but management. Okay. So similarly, when we say access management, suppose I'm associate, I need access to my customer access management portal. So initially they need to provide access to me, right? Add access. They need to provide access for me in this particular application. So it's an addition operation, adding the access. Suppose I have promoted from associate to manager. Okay, right now I have permission at associate level only. So once I get promoted to manager, they need to modify my access, right? So they need to remove associate access, and they need to add manager access. So which is nothing but a modify operation. They are not creating new access for me, but in the existing access itself, they are removing one permission and add one another permission. So this is modify operation. Suppose if I am no longer belongs to this particular department and I am no longer supposed to access this custom account management, they need to remove my access, right? So this is what we mean by access management. So to provide access, to add more permissions, or to remove any permissions, or to completely remove the access. So whenever there is an account or whenever we are providing any access, we can perform all of these access related activities. So these access related activities are nothing but access management. Okay. So using our SailPoint IAQ, we are basically handling all of this. We are doing identity and access management. Okay. And I said for enterprise. So when I said enterprise, we are only handling the access management for the people working for the organization. When we say working for the organization, let's take the bank itself. So when we say the bank, how many people are involved in the bank, like directly or indirectly? So involved in the sense, for example, if you take employee, contractor, vendor, or the chatbots, all these are working for the organization. So these guys work for the organization, but we have something called customers. For example, I have a bank account in Corp Bank. Okay. So I'm not an employee or I'm not a contractor. I'm not at all working for the corporate bank, but I'm an end customer. I have an account in this Corp Bank and I am consuming the services of the bank. In this case, I will become a customer. I am also a human, I am also a person, but I am not working for the bank, but I am consuming the services of the bank. So now I am called as customer. We are not handling any customer details. So that's why we clearly said enterprise. We are not dealing with any of the customer related activities. So in our identity, we will not create any record for the customer. We only create records for people who work for the organization. Okay, either the employees who are on direct payrolls or the contractors or vendors who are on indirect payrolls or third party payrolls. Mission anyhow will not pay them, like they will be working for the organization. Okay, so that's why we clearly said enterprise IAM. For handling the customer details, we have something called CIAM, Customer Identity and Access Management. So this is altogether a separate topic. We are not going to deep dive into it, but just giving you the idea, okay, what we are exactly doing. So we will be dealing with only the enterprise IAM problems. It means like we only deal with the identities and access of people who work for the organization only, but not for customers. Okay. So this is what we mean by identity and access management. Now we are going to do this. We are going to do this identity management. It means creation of identity, updation of identity, disabling identity, all of these activities, and access management like adding access, removing access, modifying access. We are going to perform all of these activities through our SailPoint IAQ tool. Okay. So this is the purpose of the tool. Okay. So have you understood this? Or do you have any gaps in the understanding or any doubts?
Yeah. So when you say that we will only work for the people who are in enterprise level,
Mhm.
so let's say if I'm working for a healthcare domain, so
Okay.
we will be only dealing for the identities of nurse, doctors, likewise, but not for the patients. That what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Patients are kind of the people who consume our services, right? They are not
Right.
providing
Right.
services. They are not working for us. You're right, absolutely correct. So again, I have taken example of a bank. So that's why we have the customers, all of this. This IAM tool can be implemented to any domain. We can go for retailers. It means like Walmart, Costco, a kind of retail customers. We can implement it for banks, we can implement it for healthcare, we can implement it for logistics domain, like if you have DHL, or if you have something like Porter, or what else we have. If we have any such logistics related companies, we can implement it for them. The scenarios may vary, but at the end of the day, it seems like people who work for that particular company, we only manage their identities and we only manage their access. Got it?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing here. So when we are onboarding any connectors onto the SailPoint, are we also going to cover custom connectors, like which will be based on REST and SOAP APIs?
No, actually, custom connector is different, and the connector that we use for REST and SOAP APIs are different. We will not
Right.
be we will not be covering the custom connector. It's complete development thing, and it's a huge topic. Okay, so it will be too complicated to handle it. But we'll give a fair idea about connectors. But web service, I'll try to integrate. The problem in handling the web service connector is like we don't have an end system to connect. Okay,
Okay.
we'll cover few connectors, and after that, I'll give you some resources in order to go through about the connectors. Suppose we have like 80 plus connectors in SailPoint as of now. Okay, we'll we'll refer like 2 to 3 types of connectors, and we'll understand like how the connector behaves and what exactly the connector means and how it will be helpful. And later on, it's up to you. Like if you want to explore web service connector, I'll give you the resource related to web service connector, and you can explore it. The only problem is we don't have an end system to show the real-time scenarios, but we'll try to cover
Okay.
most.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I am exactly looking for hands-on experience, definitely
Mhm.
not like a generic overview.
Mhm.
I'll make sure I'm also practicing at the same level, whatever
Yeah,
your the lab materials that you will be providing to us.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, end of the session, I can assume myself pertaining like, at least 3 to 4 years of experience, right?
yes, of course.
Okay. And it will be useful for me if you can share your, real-time scenarios and real-time examples, like whatever the challenges that you faced in your employment, you can share with us, which will be helpful for our employment also.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Actually, even as I was saying, the course is designed by keeping all those challenges in my mind only.
Yeah.
So to give an
Yes.
example, I have worked with people who said they have worked on SailPoint upgrade, but they don't even know the architecture, and they don't know like what will happen if I touch a particular piece of software. Okay, so now by keeping that in mind, I have like a separate topic to understand the architecture of SailPoint, so that in future, no matter whether you're doing the installation or whether you're doing the upgrade, you have a full picture. Okay, so what you're doing, so that at least my goal is to reduce as much as errors as possible in your real work by considering the real-time scenarios, and also to provide not just a blind approach of doing something, and also to give an overall picture of why we are doing it and what exactly we are doing and what is the purpose of doing that. We'll also understand how to do, but apart from that, we'll see the purpose and what is the 360-degree view of doing that. We'll be discussing that. Got it?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So we are already running late by 7 minutes for this session. And I know like if we have more participants, obviously the discussion will be more and it will take more time. For now, I'll stop the session here for today. And in next session, we'll get started with rest of the topics. Okay. So if you guys are okay, if you still have any doubts, I'll be here for a few more minutes and clarify your doubts. Otherwise, like we'll stop the session here for today. And one request from my side. So during our training, right, whenever you feel I am going very fast, whenever you feel you are not getting any particular point, and because of that you are not able to correlate the rest of the concepts, always feel free to raise your hands, or always feel free to unmute yourself and raise your voice and stop me and ask your question. Okay, either if I am going too fast, you can interrupt me and you can tell that I'm going too fast. Or if you are not understanding anything, you can interrupt me and you can ask those questions then and there itself. We can get that clarified and we'll proceed with our explanation accordingly. Okay. So also let me know if you have any feedbacks, either now or during the training itself. If you want the things to be done in a particular way, let me know, or we can take that accordingly. Is that okay to everyone?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Okay then guys, thank you so much for joining this session. I'll be here for a few more minutes and let's discuss if you have any other doubts for the rest of the
And
people. If you don't have any
next,
doubts, feel free to drop.
next session, when it will be there?
If you guys are, this is something that we need to discuss with organizers and with everyone. So I am okay to take sessions on Saturdays as well, but it's up to you people. If everyone is okay with Saturday, we can have a session tomorrow as well. Otherwise, we can have our next session on Monday morning IST. I guess I answered your question.
Yeah, for on my side, I'm okay with 9 a.m. IST. I work for a MST, so I'm okay with 9 a.m. IST or anything. And
Okay,
Saturday and also okay for me.
let's do
From my
one thing, Monica. Let's discuss with our training organizers
sure.
and we'll take opinion from everyone what is their availability. And even I have to check my availability as well.
Sure.
So whatever the time that is proposed, I need to check if that works for me as well or not. So we'll have a discussion with our organizers. Accordingly, everyone will agree upon a particular time, and that itself will ask how many people are okay to join session on Saturdays and how many are not willing. Accordingly, we will decide to take sessions on Saturdays or not.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. 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 Is anything else? Okay. If you don't have anything to discuss, like feel free to drop. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kalyan.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.